today I wanted to share what you can plant in your garden in zone 8B in April. I am going to plant a few of these flowers, which I'm going to share with you today, that I'm going to plant this April. Probably in the next week to 3 weeks, I'm going to start spacing them out. And these are the same flowers that I plant every year, that I've been planting for the past 5 years in my garden. So some of the flowers that you can plant in your garden in April in zone 8B, I'm going to direct sow them directly into the beds. I have 4 by 16 in-ground beds. You can also plant these in raised beds or containers. I am going to plant sunflowers. Let's see, not this particular type, but I'm going to plant sunflowers. I have started dahlias from seed. I'm going to plant those as soon as they get a little bit bigger into the beds. I am going to plant zinnias. I don't have these particular seeds anymore, but I saved seeds. And I'm going to plant these. I saved seeds and I'm going to plant similar, like I guess you call them the children of these seeds this year. I'm going to plant cosmos. I saved seeds from probably these also. I'm going to plant these again. And just zinnias. Another variety of zinnias that I planted last year. And then I usually always plant some type of sunflower, and I like to get some of the mammoth sunflowers because they get so big. Like these, say they get 7 to 12 feet tall. I've had some of them get that tall. I've had some that were much shorter. I've had some that were much taller. And yeah, so that's just to name a few. One thing I mentioned, I saved seeds. So this jar contains all of the seeds that I saved from last year, maybe the year before, but this is mostly from last year. I know I saved seeds from the year before, and I probably used almost all of them. But I'm going to start planting these before, or maybe at the same time that I have, at the same time as I plant some of the other flowers that a couple seed packs that I've already bought. But I'm mostly going to plant some of these, and then while I'm ordering and waiting on a few varieties of other, like zinnias and cosmos, I want to plant some of these first just to get started and see if they germinate. After I share what I'm going to plant, that I'm just going to water my garden and just kind of take you along. But this is my garden journal from last year. I bought this at Target, and I used it like at the beginning of 2024, and I probably, wrote in here what I was doing in January because I was doing winter sowing. I really didn't do that this year. It was fun, but I don't really have to do winter sowing because it gets warm here usually by March. So I wrote down, the things that I was doing, the seeds that I ordered, and I'm glad that I did that because I've been able to go back and look to see what and when I planted things last year. So I may keep up with what I am ordering or planting at least March, April, May, June, and July. I'm not sure how far I will keep up with it, but I also have a Google Calendar where I added a separate calendar for the garden, so just my garden, and I made it a separate color so it has its own entry. When I enter what I planted, it just shows up under the garden, so I can unselect every other calendar option and just have the garden option show up, and I can look back on those too to see what I did last year when I started planting and things like that. Okay, and before I just walk around and do my garden updates, one thing I wanted to mention, in my zone we have really heavy thunderstorms. So I check the forecast, and so if there's going to be like a really heavy thunderstorm the next day, maybe even the next day, I'm not going to plant a lot of seeds directly in ground because they're going to get washed away. I have heavy clay soil, so the under layers of the soil are pretty heavy clay. The top layers are usually like the garden soil, and sometimes it kind of mixes in well and there's layers, but right now the soil is pretty compact again until I add more soil. So if I planted, you know, all these seeds and we got a really heavy storm, they're just going to wash around, and they'll probably grow and germinate somewhere, but they may germinate in one big clump somewhere instead of how I want to space them out. So I will usually wait till maybe after it rains, or it's not going to rain for 4 or 5 days, and then that will at least kind of give them a chance to like start to germinate. And it probably just depends on how long the seed that you're planting takes to germinate. So I just wanted to mention that. So now I'm just going to walk around and water a few things. I usually come outside. Well, I come outside every day, but I come out here every day and just check on a couple of things. I don't really have a lot to check on right now. I planted elephant ears, caladiums. I think that's it. So, but I come out here and check on those and water them, and just kind of look around, pull weeds, just do a few little things, put some water in my little tiny bird bath, and just do those kind of things every day. So you don't really have to spend a lot of time outside every day. I don't, especially when it starts to get hot. It'll be way too hot to be out here for long. So anyway, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear the neighbor's mower, but hopefully not. I keep talking about these crimson clover, and I really didn't know. I've never planted them, so I didn't know if I was going to get to see them bloom, but they started blooming last week. So I will at least get to see them before I have to cut them down to plant my other summer flowers. So this side of the garden is doing pretty good. I'm going to remove these clovers at some point when I get ready to plant. But right now I have just an elephant ear here, one here, and these are some tulips that I planted. They're slowly coming up. I don't know if they're not getting enough sun, but anyway, we'll just see if those come up and see how they do.